Alright, let me try again. For this wasn't wanting to work. Get this sorted. Okay, so my idea for Breath of the Wild 2 is you get to see the end scene of Breath of the Wild 1, you know, the secret video. If you basically got all the memories, you got the secret scene of the field and, well, spoilers. Spoilers. So I'll give you 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so you get the spoilers. Spoiler scene from end of the Breath of the Wild 1, saying, "Oh, we should go visit, Varuta and see what happened, because it stopped working and stuff. So you have to go and you speak with you speak with the king, and he's like, yeah, I don't know what happened. It was active, and then after that, it just stopped working. And I don't know what happened." And Sidon is like, "It must be because we did something, we fished too much or something." And the king is like, "Don't be ridiculous. That's not because of why. It has to be something else." And Sidon's like, "Well, I'll believe it until it's not true." And the king's like, "Oh, okay, fine, whatever. You believe what you want to believe." And watch the scene. Let's get. And he's like, "Well, maybe it's not just us. Maybe it's all the others, and so that requires you to go to Goron Village and check on Rodania and stuff, and you find out that Varadania is also not active. But the mood in Goron City is like, well, good, because then we don't have to worry about the magma bombs. Like they're just like, they're done with Rodania. Like they're upset. And then Zelda's like, I can't believe that they're doing that, being crazy like that. And Link's like, yeah, it's kind of weird. And then you leave, and then like it shows Link and Zelda leaving, but you see like a little what is it? A little trail of malice come off of the the townsfolk. But that's just for you, the player, to see, not for Link and Zelda. Like they didn't see it, so they're totally oblivious to it. But you've been keyed in as a player on what's going on, and so you leave Goron Town because they all seem like real upset and mad and stuff, and then you go to Rito Village, and they find out Rito Village has taken up nest in the mountain, preventing access to the snow in the mountains range, and they are also upset. It's like, well, that's a main trade route between us and where we get our food and stuff. And I mean, if it wasn't there, then we'd be able to trade and stuff. And Zelda's just like, I just really can't believe this. I can't believe this is happening. And so, like, when you fight the divine beast, you get the option of shrinking them down and using them. But I mean, you shrink them down, but there's not really any else use to them except for maybe Varuta can make it rain, and it's just like an environmental effect. So you can kind of have more control over the environment instead of just like oh, it's raining, I have to wait here and just like not be able to do anything for however long it takes, or I'll go to visit Death Mountain for like 5 minutes until the rain clears. So you can just have those as just like their standard abilities, and then once you get all four, then they're like well, I mean, you could upgrade them and get different abilities. So like the upgraded abilities would be freezing rain or something like that. And if you get the freezing rain, like you can freeze all your enemies, but it takes a while to recharge. I mean, I'm just throwing stuff out there. I don't know. And but like when you first start the game, it was like you get woken up, kind of like you did in Breath of the Wild 1, but it's more severe. It's like Link, wake up! I need you here now. And so you wake up and the scene plays and you can what was it? You see Dark Beast Ganon in the field, and it's bad. You see Link or you see Zelda fighting Dark Beast Ganon, and she's asking you to come there because she can't handle Dark Beast Ganon alone, and apparently she's been doing this for like a month or so, and you go down there and the scene plays out, and she actually manages to handle Dark Beast Ganon because you're there, and that's what she needed to see you and get that burst of spark of joy or whatever to see you. And she seals Ganon, and she's like kind of upset at you because like you got there and you didn't have your sword, you didn't have, like, depending on what you get from the treasure chest depends on how much that she is upset with you, but she's also kind of happy in a tsundere way, I guess. I don't know. And then she'll admonish you like, well, why did it take you so long to get here, and blah 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 blah, and she'll say all that, and then you'll be like, well, I thought it was like 1,000,000 years or 100 years, something like that. And so I was like, don't be, are you serious? Like, why are you making up stuff, right? And Lynx is like, it was real for me, and apparently, when I was in there, 100 years had passed, and I just rolled with it, and I just did the best I could, and all my weapons kept breaking, and like some kind of jab at the previous game not being perfect or something, being weird. And Zelda will be like, oh well, okay, fine, I do know this, the Shrine of Resurrection might jar your memory or not make you be able to remember everything correctly, so I guess that's a given. And controller keeps drifting. And so she's like, well, I want you to go and go to Impa and make sure that they're okay and all that, and tell them that we defeated Dark Beast Ganon, because they don't hardly ever get news about anything over there because they're secluded. And you're like, okay, I'll go do that. And then you're walking past there. There's no enemies. There's no enemies whatsoever because you just defeated Dark Beast Ganon. And then you get to Impa, and Impa's like, well, yeah, I mean, it kind of, seems like the blood moon has been happening for a while, and I don't know how much longer you guys can keep, resealing Ganon before you can't. It's like it's a war of attrition. And Link's like, but I I did I did all the stuff, and then I went to the Hyrule Castle, and you know Ganon freed himself, and then we had a battle, and all these divine beasts fired their lasers and all that, and Impa's like, well, that's a good story, but it didn't happen. And Link, Zelda's with you and be like, Link, like, just stop, just like don't mention it anymore. Just it happened for you. It didn't happen for us. Okay, we don't care anymore. And Link's like, fine. And there's voice acting. Everything's voice acted. There's no more text box clips. Oh wait, stop. Am I still recording? Okay. Sorry, my phone said I have 15% left, so I freaked out. Sorry about that. Yeah, and it's all voice acted, or most of it's voice acted, instead of majority of it being text box, which is nice, which makes it better, in my opinion. Yeah, no, that okay. Okay, and what was I saying? Oh, so yeah, you go talk with Impa, and Impa's like, well, yeah, it seems like the blood moon has been happening more and more often. Maybe you guys should like find a way to kick Ganon for good, and like find the source of where it's happening. And Zelda's like, that is a perfectly good idea, but where do we start? And Impa's like, well, if I was you, I'd go and go visit Varuta and speak with King Dorephan, because he's been alive for a long time. And you're like, okay, well, there's nothing else we can really do except do that. And so you go and you go to King Dorephan, and King Dorephan's like, well, yeah, because Varuta stopped working like right after you sealed Ganon. That's kind of mysterious. And Zelda's like, yeah, that is kind of mysterious. And so you have to go and you have to go and fight Varuta, but it's different this time. Open. Thank you. It's different for a couple reasons, and it's actually kind of the same when you fight Varuta. Like, you still have to go and do the things where you have to shoot the shoot the points to stop the water flow, and then once you do that, you have to fight Varuta for real. Like, ain't no joke. You don't go into Varuta and do the shrine things. Like, no, you actually fight Varuta as if they were a boss. And then once you fight Varuta and manage to damage it so much that it just gives up, course you get Mifa's grace and stuff, uh, and you get the cutscene like, oh, I didn't think I was ever gonna you know, see my dad, and then Zelda's like, well, why don't you just go over there and just say, hey, I missed you, and I know I'm a ghost, and I'm sorry, and I'm sure he wants to hear from you, and Mifa's like, yeah, you're right, I should, and you get a little another touching scene of Mifa, as a ghost going to visit her dad, and just be like, "Hey, Dad, what's up? I'm sorry. I was trapped in Varuta because of the Phantom, but Link freed me, and I just wanted to say I miss you guys, and you know everyone's like, oh, we miss you too, Mifa, and it's touching, and then for some reason Impa Impa shows up too, and she's like, well, hey, I found out this way you can travel between the towers, because at this point, like, you don't have any way to travel uh between the towers, like your abilities are limited, and so I was like, well, we defeated Varuta, but it probably would have been easier if if you had some abilities or something. And Link's like, yeah, that would have been great. And so you go. What do? You go to the Great Plateau. It's not blocked off anymore. Uh, where they bombed it. It's still a pathway up there now, and you can go up and do the shrines, but now they're different shrines and different abilities, but kind of similar. So like the bomb rune would be like you just get like the circle bomb. You don't get the square bomb too. And of course you get the square bomb, and you would go and get stasis, but it's not stasis anymore. It's like slow down. So you can slow down the enemy. They can still move, but you're slowing them down. And then for Cryonis, you just basically get the basic Cryonis skill, but it's just like it's a little tiny platform. It doesn't make like the giant pillar. So you're kind of very limited on what you can do, but you get more what is it, more uses out of it. Instead of just like 3 big pillars, you can now make 8 or 9 tiny things for you to walk on. And of course Link can't stay quiet about the ability. And it's like, oh, when I was in the simulation or whatever, I could use giant pillar, and it was great, and I liked it. And Zelda's like, will you be quiet about that? I don't care. And Link is just like kind of flabbergasted, because he doesn't understand why Zelda's acting this way. And then finally, you see that you see a little sliver of malice emanating from her, because she's getting upset with Link, and it's not good, you know. So then, like day what? Because they go by days. You well, like once Zelda beat Ganon, you get 7 days of rest until like a new blood moon happens. But because it's been happening more often, you get less and less days to seal Dark Beast Ganon. And then every time that you get a blood moon, you get more enemies, or the enemies are more leveled up. So like at like day one, you could have like a group of like 2 or 3 red bokoblins, and then like by day 5, all those bokoblins are now silver bokoblins, and they have pretty high tier weaponry. But then you go and defeat Dark Beast Ganon again, which is a joke. You just do laps around at target practice, and then you between doing that, like always defeating Dark Beast Ganon and doing like the shrines and the quests and hiring people in the towns so they can defend themselves. It's kind of like a vicious loop, but it's also rewarding, because the more enemies that you're defeating, the more stuff that you're getting, and the more stuff that you can sell. And the more stuff you can sell, the more other stuff you can do in the other cities. Which is how I would build it. And then so you basically go through Breath of the Wild 1 at an accelerated rate for all the shrines and stuff. Or maybe not 120 shrines, maybe just like 90 shrines, but you still get the orbs. So instead of having 4 orbs to turn in for a heart, you maybe get like two or 3 orbs, so you can get. And then the other hearts that you can get are not shrine based, but they're quest based. So like you could do a shrine and be like, the one that is in outskirts stable. Like if you were to, like where Magnesis shrine is, you're facing that shrine, and if you were to sidestep to the right and then go straight down that road and turn, like there's that stable, and you do the one like my hero one to get the Master Sword, and then you get as a reward a heart piece. And then if you do a quest where I want you to capture me that white horse, and then you capture the white horse, and they go, hey, thanks for capturing the white horse. Here's the stamina vessel, So it's not all. You don't do all the shrines to get all the hearts and stamina. It's like it's a mix. I mean, that's what I would do. And I would also make it so you could build in Castletown to like rebuild it up. You get all the shops, like it'd be like like a Terry Town, but just for Hyrule Castle. But of course, the Hyrule Castle is up in the sky, and you can't really do that until you find the source. And then once you find the source, that you get thrown into the future, like Samurai Jack style, and Ganon is basically, Ganondorf is basically a coup, sends you into the future, and you have to navigate the future in the past, or whatever, time travel, and you have to discover the shrines in the sky. There's like 30 of them, but they're tougher. It's you might have like 3 parts to the shrine. Like, oh, you have to do this. So we're going to teach you about, this technique, and then, you get to the end, and it's like a little mini boss that tests you on that technique, like a dilapidated, shrine guardian, or like in Metroid Dread, like a dilapidated Emmy, like the Emmy couldn't go into the underneath. So you fight a dilapidated guardian, and you get tested on that ability, and then you go to the next part, and then you learn another technique, and then you fight another guardian, but it's a little bit better. So you have to use the previous technique plus the new technique, and then you go to the third part, and you learn another technique, or you get an item, or you get a thing, or whatever, and then you have to fight the final guardian, and this one is like 5 times harder than the other two, and it's difficult. It's difficult for real. Like it'll take you a while, and I forgot to press A. You just look at the screen. Because I was thinking. And then you fight that guardian, and then you get an upgrade to one of your stasis runes, or bomb runes or something. So like you get like a bigger blast or something, or a homing thing, or something just, it upgrades your hand and your rune, so you have better control over the environment. And you can do the islands in any manner that you choose. So it's still open world. So like you can, if you wanted to go to like the hardest part shrine that's considered level 8, and like you should have done all the other ones before that, it's going to be brutal. It's going to probably game over you 15 times before you can even get to the first guardian, if you're not fully up on your hearts and stamina and knowledge or tools. But I mean, you can do it just for bragging rights, and then go back and be like, oh well, yeah, I actually should have done this one that was placed right in front of me from the beginning. But I mean, you don't have to. And what? So you do all the shrines and get all the stuff, and then my guess is like you're constantly upgrading your time one, so it's not just slow down. It's stop and then rewind, or fast forward, or I don't know. What else can tempt you? Or you can record like yourself doing an action and then reversing yourself. Be like, oh hey, that didn't work, so let me reverse time before I fall in this pool of lava. And then you go back, and then you try again, and it doesn't work. You go back. You just keep trying it until it works. It's I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. But then I think at the end, like you'll have upgraded time so much that you'll be able to reverse time for Zelda and the Master Sword. And then once you get Zelda and Master Sword, you have to make it back out, because now you have Zelda with you, and you have to deliver her to either Impa, Robbie, or Pura. So those are the 3 places you could, or your home. If you had the if you bought the home in Breath of the Wild 1, it would carry over. So you could take her home. You get home and she'll cook you a good meal. Which would be a dream. But she'd cook you a meal and it should be nice. Just to go home. And then you get an option to build like a museum, an armory museum. So you can this is like post game stuff. So like you can collect every weapon and display it. So you know you can go somewhere and see all the weapons that you've collected or gathered and shields and stuff like that. And maybe clothes. So it'd be like an Animal Crossing museum, but for your gear and stuff. And I mean that's how I think it would go. It's kind of fun just fighting all these bad guys all at once. I don't know if the Switch. I mean, obviously the Switch can handle it here, but it's just nice, like tearing through a whole bunch of enemies. You know, I kind of wish this was like Breath of the Wild was. I mean, just tearing through a whole bunch of horde of enemies. I mean, it's nice that they're smarter and they run around. But it's kind of annoying for the Lizalfos because they're always like jumping around and they're always like spewing that water at you. Like that's a cheap move. Like don't do that, you cheap bastards. What else? It'd be kind of nice if like you went to Robbie and Pura and each of them had different different abilities for your stasis or something. So like you could choose to get like a scouter from Pura, and that she would it will let you show you like what's in a treasure chest, what their HP is, and what they're weak against, I guess. Because I mean, there's also like fire moblins and ice moblins and all those kind of